Hi guys, it's Blackie Thomas for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft. This is part of the Bushcraft Skills set. Okay, in other videos we talked about a tarp. And everybody needs to have a tarp for its versatility and other uses. But for right now, let's talk about a shelter kit, a tarp kit. It's been my experience, and your experience may vary because of your environment, but in my experience, the tarp really shines when it's got a couple of basic components with it. So I go ahead and make up my kit completely ready to go. Now this will go down into a rucksack or lash to the bottom of a haversack if I'm expecting to camp. And I've used various things to indicate it's ready and what all's in it. So let me go over what I carry in a tarp set. Hopefully you'll find it of use. Stay with me. Be right back. Okay, here's my tarp set. Now, I use a piece of 550 cord tied into a Canadian jam knot to form what I call a Bushcraft zip tie. Very easy on, very easy off. I use bright orange to indicate this is a complete shelter set and easy to find, so when I lay it down, I can find it easy. Alright, I've got the shelter itself. First thing up, my Ridgeline. I'm using bright pink so I can tell at a glance that's what that is. Now you could use other colors, but I can tell that's a Ridgeline, not just a hunk of paracord that I have thrown in for whatever reason. I've got a loop on one end and I've set it up so that I can tie it quickly. I make a timber hitch, usually is how I tie, and a trucker's hitch on the other end to secure a Ridgeline. So that is, I think it's 20 feet of paracord. Now, unrolling, now we come to the meat of it. I have 4 ABS stakes. Now, I have 4 ABS stakes, I have 4 10-foot guy lines, and I have a 10-foot extra line that I'll explain in a moment. On the corners of my tarp, I've already taken number 36 bank line and made about an 8-inch loop hanging off. This is very quick and easy to take and hook directly to the tent stake, so I kind of fly the tarp up a couple inches to get a little air draft under it. I can also wrap this around tight and then hook it to get it a little tighter. As you see on the tent stake, I've gone ahead and put a piece of number 36 bank line. I've added a piece of paracord through it so I can indicate that this is part of a shelter set, not just a random stake. And this can also be used to anchor it in some way to it. I can also make a loop through this to give me a little extra reach if I need it. But the point being is, it's something now I can easily hang a tent stake up with. I can also grab and pull a stubborn tent stake out with, and there's several other things I can anchor to it now that I've got a loop to it. Okay? I carry 4. Yes, I could make stakes, but they're so light and quick and handy. Why not just go ahead and carry them and be done with it? I have 4 10-foot guy lines. Why 10 foot? If I am flying the tarp, like over a hammock, I will put a ridge line up, I will then drape the tarp over it, and I need that kind of length to reach to the ground. So I need at least 10 foot. I use 36 bank line for this because it's much less bulky than paracord. I also have an extra one here. This extra one is for going into the center of the tarp to lift up. So I can take a stone or whatever and push up in the middle, make a hank around it, pull it tight, and have a guide wire to pull up in the middle and anchor to an overhead limb, go to another ground point, something like that, to pull the tarp out and give me more room. Now, I fold my tarp up this way, where all 4 of my grommets are all my grommets are the same place. And in the 2 center grommets on opposite ends, where if you were draping it to hang it over a hammock, I have added 2 short pieces of bungee cord to it. These are military issue bungee cord. If I'm going to sling it over a hammock or sling it where trees may be leaning, this is how I'll anchor it so that if I'm in a storm and the trees start swaying, it doesn't tear my tarp. I got a little give. So these two short pieces of bungee fulfill that purpose. I've also folded it this way so that all my lines come to this point. That's simply fold in half, fold in half, fold in half, fold in half, and you'll end up with all this. Now the first thing to go in will be my tent stakes. I take all my lines, roll them to the inside, and I take a full turn. Now I take all my guy lines and I put along that line. Now I go ahead. And then right here at the end, making sure it's tight, I'm going to fold this end back over, and I'm going to put the paracord right there, like that. Now what that does, it makes it nice and snug and everything is held and secured. Taking my zip tie, I put it around it, like that, center it up, and give it a tug. That's all I got to do. I just simply half hitch the loop off on the other end to the release tab of the Canadian jam knot. And that is the complete shelter. Now, let me readjust the camera. The tarp set like this allows me to set up in many, many different configurations. I have enough paracord for a ridgeline. I have enough paracord to make a plow point going way up in a tree. I've got enough 40 feet of guy ropes of number 36 bank line that I can adapt for whatever the condition is. And I've got that extra piece to tie in the middle and pull it out so I can pull the center out, or if I don't want to, I can put a stick to hold the center out. Now, how many ways can you set up a tarp? The last count I heard was probably 78, but it all becomes redundant. Learn a few ways that you really feel confident with. Get out and try it out. It doesn't have to be big and awkward. This weighs about 3 pounds. And that is my shelter system for a hammock, for a canoe, for a standalone, for an enclosed. You get my idea. It's super, super versatile. So even if you're going to go with another form of tent, having a tarp set is always an asset when you're camping. Having it was a kit. I do not put it up until I've made sure everything's here. So the next time I grab it, all my stuff's there. Hope this helps, guys. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.